And the last thing I need to do is read through our hearing script. This basically will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll jump right into the presentation of the applicant's case. So just make sure this is starting here. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So this is the February 9th, 2022 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. I'm the zoning hearing examiner for the city of Cincinnati, and I'll preside over this hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20220002. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing, unless the party has submitted testimony or evidence in the form of writing or digitally prior to this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. So I'll give Mr. Fremming, Mr. Studer, and Mr. Shadowan an opportunity to tell me whatever they would like about this project, why you think it's appropriate, give me some background on it, what exactly you're doing, why you think I should grant this relief, that sort of thing. And then I'll move to the public. Anyone here from the public, all of the neighbors will have an opportunity to provide any comments or testimony if they would like about the project. I will then give our zoning plans examiner, Trey Sheldon, an opportunity to provide any testimony about the project. After that, in the event any party offers any party offers testimony in opposition to the application, I'll then give again the designers and the owner an opportunity to respond to that opposition, and then make any closing statements. So essentially here, the members of the public, you just have one opportunity to provide any testimony. So keep that in mind. If you have questions or there's anything you'd like to say, please get it out or mention that during your opportunity to speak. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony or documents. That's generally evidence you want to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who is not present at the hearing today. In the event of any technical difficulties or unforeseen circumstances with our video conferencing technology, I will do my best to troubleshoot any technical issues on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, last thing I need to do is swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any statements, any comments, asking any questions, doing anything other than just strictly observing, then you need to be sworn in. If you're not sure whether you're going to testify yet, I can swear you in as the meeting goes. But if you know that you want to provide some testimony and you're going to be speaking at this hearing, I'm going to go ahead and swear all of those people in right now. So if that is you, if you can take yourself off of mute and raise your right hand. I need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Anderley, you're on mute, and you raising your right hand or your left hand there? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Mr. Anderley?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I assume then the designers are going to be taking the lead here on the presentation of the case?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yep. We have a document we can share.
Feel free. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. The application is for variance in two different issues. One is the side yard setback, and well, it's actually the rear yard. And the other is the height variance, the minimum or the maximum height variance, maximum height of the building, average of 15 feet. We're asking for a 3-foot variance on that based on the design of the project. The site plan, if you can see it, Because the house is located on the corner of Kroger and Tweed, it actually has 2 front yard setbacks, which forces the rear yard setback to actually be what is to the side of the building. And the side yard setback is to the rear of the building behind the pool. So the current zoning for detached building requires that the building can only be built in the rear yard setback, but we only have 17 feet in the rear yard, and we have to be at least 3 feet off the property line. So that left approximately 12 feet of space left for the building. The owners came to us, Nate and Erica, asking us to design a 2-car garage with a space for a guest suite above it. So to fit the project in, we have to ask for variance in the footprint to allow us to go 13 feet into what's considered the side yard, because of the different setbacks that are required because of this corner lot. So that is the first request we're asking for, is a 13-foot 1-inch variance on the side yard. Is it the side yard setback? I'm sorry. Yes, the right side yard setback, because we'll be going into the right side yard.
If you don't mind, Mike, this is Trey. Just I might, just so that I can clarify, because there are a lot of other property owners around, or neighbors and stuff. You actually meet the side yard setback requirement, and you meet the side yard setback requirement. It would only be 3 feet for the side yard and for the rear yard for an accessory structure. It's just that because I have to look at the frontage as the smaller of the two, they're not within 10% of each other. So from a zoning standpoint, I've got to look at Tweed as the frontage or the front yard. And you've got a house that's nearly a century old that faces or fronts, to any layperson, fronts on Kroger. So you're actually more than fine on your setbacks. You only need to be 3 feet from the rear and side property lines. It's just that the rear yard itself is defined by the back corner of the house, there at the west, exactly where you're hovering.
Right.
That defines the plane of the backyard in relation to the front yard from Tweed. And so you're actually kind of in a variance for, you're not as a setback so much as it's an encroachment of 13 feet and change into the side yard. A very particular rule for zoning. Most people would consider this, most lay people would think, hey, this is their backyard, but it's just the way that zoning does that. And so I just wanted to clarify, because you're actually fine on your setbacks. It's just an encroachment into the side yard. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify for everybody.
No, I appreciate the clarification. I got my terms a little bit mixed up. So the building we're proposing is a 2-car garage. It is tucked, because of the site, there's a swimming pool with a filter in the back corner. We're trying to avoid that. And because of the grade, we're trying to keep the garage as narrow as possible. And the access to the second floor room has to be close to the front corner of the garage also. So that kind of controlled the width. We kept it to the minimum we could to get a 2-car garage plus a staircase. And then the depth of the building was really just to give a little bit more storage. But the other consideration we have is the height requirement. We designed the building to be within the 15-foot average of the ridge to the soffit. But because of the dormers, zoning actually looks at that, the average of the dormer gutter line to the ridge, which is approximately 18 feet. So that's why we're looking for a 3-foot height variance. Our ridge to gutter height does meet the 15-foot requirement by keeping the garage ceiling and the space above it at 8 feet. So we kept the minimum height that we could to make those rooms work and to make the garage work. But because of the dormers projecting out, which we needed for the stairs to work and for the headroom in the space, we've exceeded the height restriction because of the dormers. So that's why we're looking for a 3-foot allowance in the
Putting it,
height.
so here's the garage house.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that was someone who wasn't muted. I just muted him.
Okay.
I don't believe they were intending to speak in the hearing.
Okay. We did hold the building 5 foot from the property line. 3 foot is the minimum by zoning, but we were trying to hold 5 feet because of the ability to get in there and construct the building. And also to be 5 foot away, we can reduce needing to have it as a fire rated assembly on that side of the building. I guess, I don't know if I have, I don't know if we have the plans or the plans for the building available.
Yeah,
Just so you can see, I don't know if anybody else, any of the neighbors was able to see what we're proposing.
This is Nate, the homeowner. If I could just chime in here real quick. The idea for this new building is essentially for my parents and my wife's parents to have a place to stay. Neither one of them live in town. So this would be a place that they could sleep and have privacy when they come to visit. And I would also point out that the house, the main level, it does sit much higher than the main level of this garage. In other words, our driveway goes downhill at least 8 to 10 feet because there's a basement. So the height of this building, even if it were to be constructed as is, would be much lower than the actual height of the house. So it would sit probably halfway up the total height of the house. And you would not be able to see this from the street, either on Tweed or Kroger. Also, that the building, this garage would look very similar, if not exact, to the home. So it's an English Tudor style home. So we would have it constructed where it matched the exterior of the house. And then the other thing we were going to do is put solar panels on the roof to offset the carbon footprint of this building and the energy usage in the home. I'm actually in the automotive industry, so I do electric vehicle fleets, and I was going to install electric vehicle charging in the garage. So this would be as close to LEED certified as we could get.
Okay. Anything else from the designers or the owner on this before we go to public comment?
No, the only thing I would add to what Nate was trying to explain is that the existing garage on this house is a basement garage, and we are working off the same driveway. So the new garage will be at approximately the same elevation as the existing basement. Actually, it's a little bit lower. And then we're only 8 feet above that for the room above that. So we're 15 feet average on the roof, but actually in the back corner, because it's tucked into the hillside, we're probably another 4 foot lower than our height from grade to the roof is 4 foot lower because it's tucked into the hillside by the pool filter.
Okay.
I think that's all I have right now. Glad for any questions.
Okay. Yeah, I have a few questions. I'm going to give the public and our zoning plans examiner an opportunity to comment first, and then we'll come back to that. And so I'm just going to go by how I have folks checked in. So Mr. Gersel, is there anything you'd like to provide or add to this?
No, I think it looks very nice, and look forward to seeing it built, and appreciate being brought into the process. I don't have any issues at all.
Okay. All right. Thanks for being here. Thank you for that testimony. Mr. Onderly, anything you wanted to comment on in regards to the project?
Yeah, first, yeah, it is just a nice looking structure. So it'll make a nice addition to the house. The question I had is this going to sit on a slab, or is it going to require excavating down a fair amount? The only reason I ask is in that back rear guess the back rear left corner of the structure, which abuts our property line. There's two real large, probably 8-foot type diameter trees that sit right on that, right on the edge of it. So I can't access those trees really from my property very easily. It's kind of right where you have that arrow to proposed detached garage, where that intersects in the back left corner. So that's the only concern I have is maybe, potential damage to the root structure there. Again, that shouldn't stop you from building the house, but as long as you're open to working with us, if something should happen to the trees, I'm good with that. And then the other is the required practice now for runoff to be fed up to the street sewer line, or what's the policy on that?
For the roof drainage,
Yeah.
I'm not sure where that's going to now. I would have thought the driveway is draining to the side of the property. I thought there actually was something with drainage going off to the left of the property. I'm not sure of that. Maybe Nate is aware of that.
There is, this is Nate, the homeowner. There is a drain in the middle of our driveway right now. I don't know exactly where it goes, but there's also a couple in the existing garage as well. But I know for a fact that there is a usable drain where hopefully all this ice will melt into here in the next couple of days, and it's right in the middle of the driveway. So I would think it would share that.
Do you know if you have a sump pump?
I do not.
Okay. If you have a sump pump, it's probably pumping it uphill to the street otherwise. And again, I'm just downhill from you, and I don't know if you're too familiar with the topography, but just in front of my house, there's about a 10-inch pipe which runs about 300 feet underground that accepts all the water from that basin that comes down. So I'm just curious. Again, either way, I don't object to you building the structure. Again, I think it's really nice. But just thinking through, a couple items that might impact us, downhill from you.
Yeah, on the trees, I know there's some brush that we're going to have to remove, and I'm with you. I'd rather not remove trees if we don't have to. As I mentioned before, we're trying to achieve a reduced carbon footprint by adding solar panels and electric vehicle charging into the facility, high R value insulation and that type of thing to make it modern. But I would have to defer to Mike at Studer on whether this is a slab or if we would have to excavate down. I don't know the answer to that question.
We will be excavating at least 3 feet below grade. Now in that corner, if it drops down a little bit lower, we'll still have to get 30 inches below where the grade is to get frost protection, but that's just a trench footing through there. It won't be, the slab will be at the existing grade, so that won't interfere with any root structure there.
That's
and
good.
we're probably 15 feet at least from the property line from that back corner. So now the right-hand corner is 10 feet. We're pushing it as close as we can right there. But I'm not sure where. I'm looking at the top or the aerial here, and I'm not exactly sure where the trees and trunks are. As we said, it's kind of overgrown back in that corner, so we really didn't have a good perception of where those trees are. But it would be minimal excavation. There's not a basement or anything in there. It's just going to be a trench to put a footing in, and then the rest would be just gravel fill over the existing topo.
Yeah, I don't think that'll pose any issue then.
Mr. Enderle, this is Trey Sheldon, zone plan examiner. I believe you and I spoke by phone.
Yeah.
About this. Just to reassure you, as far as the downspouts and so on, it's not a zoning issue at all. But when you do a new construction like this, stormwater management unit is routed on the building permit. So even if in their conceptual drawings here, it's not with Studer Design, if that's not all figured out, the final drawings will have to address how the stormwater is being directed. So they will not allow someone to just run off their roof and shunt the water onto somebody else's property. So I'm just assuring you of that. And there's a specific division that deals with stormwater. And if it turns out that there's no other way to do that, to speak to what Mr. Shadoan has already addressed, if this is a lead home, they could end up having to do like a little tank or something, some kind of a stormwater sequestration or something of that nature to satisfy instant runoff from for stormwater management. But that will be addressed in the permitting process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, we could set up, if it was necessary, we could set up like a rain barrel that would catch the gutter runoff, the water from the gutters into a place like that. I mean, I would have no problem with that. I'm not exactly sure where you live, Mr. Anderley. I don't know if you're on the Tweed side or if you're on the Kroger side, but we would just like to accommodate whatever wishes that you have.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'm not too concerned. I'm in the house. I guess if you're looking right out the back, down the back of your drive, that has that like tree house, that structure up in there, and then
Yeah.
So anyway, look forward to meeting you, on different terms someday.
Right.
But, no, this is all. Again, I think that'll be a nice accessory structure for your property, and makes sense to me. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anderley, for your time and your testimony here today. Is there anyone else that's here from the public that would like to provide any testimony? I think we just have Mr. Orlov left. Okay. Trey, would you like to provide anything in addition to your staff report?
Just for the benefit of the surrounding homeowners who may have not read the staff report, I know I have talked with multiple homeowners. Everyone seemed supportive of the project once they understood the location and that this would look, nearly identical to the architectural style of the home. I don't see a situation where the design and placement of this, and that's one of the factors that we look at in variances and other forms of zoning relief, is it reasonable, the siting here in the context of it, and is there a hardship? And there really is, because this is a home that was nearly a century old. Any layperson, as I mentioned before, any layperson would look at this and go, hey, the front of the house faces Kroger. It's just that for any addition or new development and so on, the way we in the zoning code have to do it on these corner lots sometimes where they're not like a perfect square, or this is just an irregular lot here. And I have to view the frontage as on Tweed, and it creates a situation where they're doing everything they can. In fact, they're even meeting the 10-foot side yard setback for a dwelling that they don't even need to do, David, and the surrounding homeowners. They're, and thankfully they're doing that because of the tree issue, but they would be within their rights to go within 3 feet of the side and rear property lines. It's just that you have a 13-foot and 1-inch encroachment. I don't see any other way for them to build this. And I guess the last statement I'd like to make, I've worked with Studer Design numerous times, and we had a little conversation about this initially before I wrote an adjudication letter for them. And there are a lot of homes. In fact, with regard to this, I actually spoke with the zoning, the chair of the zoning committee of Mount Lookout Community Council. I spoke with him, Mr. Spittler, I believe this morning, and he acknowledged that there are gorgeous homes in Hyde Park, Mount Lookout, and I mentioned Marymount too, that some of the homes have older existing garages that cannot anyway accommodate, say, 2 modern SUVs. You'd be banging, people would have to get out of the car before even pulling into the garage. You'd be banging your car door into the side of the garage. So this is very common for people to, you could have a $1 million home with a substandard garage because it's 100 years old. And so this is very common in neighborhoods like Mount Lookout, Hyde Park, and so on, where you have an older, large sized homes. And kind of a defunct, kind of a dated garage, despite having a beautiful home. So I think this project's very reasonable in that light.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
it would make no sense for us to put the garage anywhere but this one location. We would not want to put it in the what's considered the frontage there on Tweed. I don't think any of the neighbors would appreciate that. It wouldn't look right. There would be nowhere to access to put vehicles in there either. So, like I said, this is the only place this really can go. And from either direction, either Kroger or Tweed, I don't think you'll be able to see the building from the street.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sheldon, for those comments. I'll turn it back over again to the owner or designers. Anything else you'd like to say in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
I have nothing.
That's all I have.
Okay, great. Well, again, I want to thank everyone for their time and their testimony. I've had a chance to review the plans and the staff report and the full application materials. So based on that and based on the testimony here today, I'm going to approve the requested variances. And so what I need to do is formalize that decision in in a written opinion. That usually takes about a week or two for me to finish with the queue that I have right now. As soon as I do finish it, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everyone who's in this hearing. And so everyone will have a copy of that decision really just moments after it's finished. For the applicant and the owner, whenever you have that email from me, you can start working with Trey to get the necessary permitting. And I think that's it. Are there any other questions or concerns right now?
I just have one comment, David, and I do this sometimes when I've done a preliminary review rather than an adjudication letter for a permit, stopping a permit. Just remember to please, Mike and Jay, shoot me an email when you're submitting this for permitting. You know, when you've done the more detailed drawings and you're submitting for permitting, alert me ahead of time so that this properly gets routed to me. So the last thing I want to do is have one of my colleagues accidentally get assigned this and spend a couple hours reviewing it, writing a letter to you, only to realize that, you know, there's already been a hearing held. So, if it's some months down the road, please, give me a shot across the bow so I know this is coming.
We definitely will do that.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions? Okay. If anything comes up in the meantime, or if you'd like a status update on where the written decision is, please feel free to reach out, call me or email me, and happy to answer any questions or give you an update. All right. Thank you all again for your time and your testimony. Appreciate it. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. And
Thank you.